Welcome to the party, pal. Your neighborhood drastic house back with you once again. And welcome back to the dungeon. We're not done with Andy Milligan. We've got 2 more discs to discuss. And today we're talking about disc 7 in this unbelievable orgy of terror known as the Dungeon of Andy Milligan box set from Severin Films. So, what are we talking about today? Well, you're going to be shocked. You're going to be real shocked.
You have my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
We're going to be talking about Andy's seedier movies and a couple of his older films. Now, I'd never seen any of these films before, but as a Vinegar Syndrome fan, I was familiar with the titles Fleshpot on 42nd Street, Seeds, and Vapors. I hadn't seen them. I didn't own the Vinegar Syndrome releases. It just never appealed to me. But because I have the box, now I have the movies. We are talking about 2 movies today and a short subject, which in my opinion, and I'm gonna reveal this right now, 100% proves that Andy Milligan is a true artist and a real filmmaker.
Oh my God! Wow!
Before I get to that, though, let's talk about Fleshpot on 42nd Street. That is the big to-do on this 7th disc. Initially, this was sold as Andy Milligan's porno movie. So I was expecting a porno movie. Fleshpot on 42nd Street, I think, is too miserable of an experience to be officially titled a porno film. There are maybe 2 or 3 limp dick penetration shots inserted into the movie. But the bulk of the movie is not what I would call in any stretch of the imagination a porno movie. Sure, there's people having sex, there's nudity, there's a lot of guys' butts because, well, Andy liked guys' butts. You do get your fair share of boobs. As a matter of fact, the actress in this, what was her name? Diane Lewis. She's quite beautiful. Gorgeous young lady. And you see her naked quite a bit. She has a healthy rack. I'm a fan. But the movie isn't exactly what you expect when somebody tells you, oh, Fleshpot on 42nd Street, that's Andy's, rated X movie. I mean, there's racier shit nowadays, just in normal movies, right? Fleshpot essentially is about a girl who is just about the most awful human being I've ever seen in cinema. She is just awful. She is just a walking dumpster fire. Awful, just awful. She's when we meet her, she's living with this guy. And she's basically staying there rent-free. She pays with her body. She's had enough of that guy, so she leaves. She meets up with her cross-dresser friend. They move in together, and she begins sort of a career of hooking. And she doesn't care about her body. She doesn't care about her self-respect, her self-worth. Well, I guess her self-worth. She charges. She's very careful about what she charges. But she essentially is a prostitute. It's a story of a prostitute who falls in love with a guy. What's his name? I believe it's John Holmes. Is it John? No, Harry Reams. Harry Reams, who's a famous porn star. She falls in love with him, and she decides to change her ways. And that's our movie. But then, throughout the milieu of the movie, throughout the mise en scène of the movie, you're shown the ugliest, sleaziest, seediest, most uncomfortable, and frankly depressing and demoralizing side of the American culture, and it does not make for fun watching. This is a very miserable experience overall. Fleshpot is miserable. It makes you question humanity. There's nothing redeeming about Fleshpot except for the fact that the main actress is quite attractive. You see her naked. And Harry Reams is actually a pretty competent actor. But then, on top of all that, Andy Milligan delivers a bitter, cynical, awful, go kill yourself type of ending that undoes every beautiful thing he tried to set up in this movie. And I don't know why he does that. I don't know why he does that, but it's unfortunate that that happens. I hated the movie. Let's be honest. I did not like Fleshpot on 42nd Street. I'm glad I didn't buy it from Vinegar Syndrome. Everybody praises it. Everybody, but not everybody, but the majority of the people go, oh, Fleshpot on 42nd Street is amazing. It's so good. It's so good. It's one of his best movies. I hated it. Awful, miserable experience. Nothing redeeming about it. Nothing worth watching. It's not even a very good erotic movie. It's not something you can, get your jollies out of.
Boobs are yummy, 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 yummy! Boobs are yummy!
It's just ugly, awful, depressing, and it leaves you with a bad taste in your mouth. Pun intended. Thumbs down on Fleshpot. And this one gets 0 stars. Before you leave me a thumbs down, all you Fleshpot fans out there, bear with me. Stay with me. I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to surprise you, I promise. That's not a musical. I have a musical soul. Seeds from 1968 is the other feature on this disc, also known as Seeds of Sin. This is a roughy black and white movie, something that is akin to Nightbirds, but Nightbirds is way more of a polished looking film. Seeds looks like Andy found short ends of whatever he could find, 60mm reels that were rusting and moldy, and I go, oh, I'm going to shoot a movie with this. The movie looks awful, and its cleaned up version doesn't look that much better. What is Seeds about? It is a movie that fits perfectly with the Andy Milligan oeuvre, because it's about a dysfunctional family. As a matter of fact, Seeds, much like Fleshpot, offers the most depressing and miserable experience you could ever imagine about a dysfunctional family. As a matter of fact, this movie features the most dysfunctional family ever. And when I mean dysfunctional, I mean everything from murder to incest.
What? No!
That's right. One of the big plot points in this movie is incest. Also, gay rape. There's gay rape in this? Well, not in it, but it's hinted at that that's a thing that happened. What you have here is a prototype version of Ghastly Ones and Legacy of Blood. It's that exact story. A family comes together. In this case, the rich person, the one that everyone hopes to inherit something from, is still alive. And they're a miserable old bag of a witch in a wheelchair. And she hates her family, and her family hates her. And they come together for some kind of reunion, just random. Hey, let's get together. We haven't seen each other in a while. The mom, that's the miserable old witch, hates her kids, wants something to do with her kids. Her kids all have sex with each other. They're all incestuous. And then a murder happens, and then another murder. It turns out that there's a murderer on the loose, knocking off family members, and we're not sure why. If it wasn't for the murder, there would be nothing really to talk about with this movie except that it's a miserable, ugly, dysfunctional family movie. But the murderer and the murderers change the dynamic of the movie and turn it into essentially a slasher type movie, for better or worse. Does it make it good? No. Overall, it's a very disjointed mess, and it's a hard movie to watch. It's just kind of dull. I did actually appreciate the relationship conversations, and the incest angle, as creepy as it was an interesting take on this storyline. But overall, there's no real mystery. You can kind of guess who the killer is. The movie ends just kind of flat. It's kind of a mess. It's kind of a mess, and one that I honestly will never, ever want to rewatch. So Seeds, or Seeds of Sin, gets 0 stars from me as well. But if you like Seeds, and you like the Fleshpot, hang in there. Don't drop a thumbs down just yet, because I want to talk about Andy Milligan's first movie. I want to talk about the film Vapors, a 32-minute short film. This is the beginning of Andy Milligan's career. It's strange that it's been kept all the way to nearly the end of this box set. But what if I told you that this 32-minute movie about a gay bathhouse was a masterpiece? What if I told you that Vapors is a film that I think belongs in the Criterion Collection? Would you believe me? Would you believe me, of all people, that an Andy Milligan movie about a gay bathhouse is something to be celebrated and cherished.
What? What the fuck?
Who are you?
Well, I hope the answer is yes, because Vapors is something to behold. It is, in my opinion, my humble opinion, a masterpiece. And Andy Milligan's greatest movie. Now, I'm a heterosexual male. I have homosexual friends. I love them dearly. But it's not a genre of cinema that I go looking for, that I seek out or collect or anything. So when Vapors appeared on the set, I'm like, oh, okay. It's a movie about a gay bathhouse. That's not my cup of tea, to put it in, plain terms. That's something I really want to watch, but for the sake of the review, I'm going to watch it. If it gets too uncomfortable for me, I'll dip out and give my opinion about what I watched. So the movie starts. It is about a gay bathhouse. But essentially, the movie is a conversation between two men. One guy who plays... He's in Torture Dungeon? I think he's in Torture Dungeon. He plays the guy who's having a threesome with a hunchback. By the way, remind me about hunchbacks. I'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, is a young gay guy. He's waiting in a room. I guess the way it works is you leave the door open and the guy walks in. If you're looking for action, and then they close the door and you guys can do whatever. So the guy's in the room. He's got the door open. A dude walks in. Looks like it's his first time there. He actually says, "Oh, it's my first time here. I don't really know what to do." She's like, "Okay." So I guess this is gonna be how gay bathhouses work. I don't know. So they start talking, and the whole movie, the 30 minutes, is a conversation between these two guys. Nothing gay happens. There's no homosexual things really. But at the halfway mark, the movie changes, and you realize what it really is. The guy who's just come in, the new guy, says, "I had a son. He looked just like you. He died. Today's his 1-year anniversary of his death." The son has a tragic-ass death. Holy fuck. I don't know how the hell Andy came up with that death. I'm not going to spoil it for you here. I'm going to let you experience that on your own. Horrible, horrible tragedy. Anyway, so the movie develops. The new guy, "Oh, I miss my son. He was great. He was a football star, and I miss him dearly." Then you start to realize what this movie's about. It's not about two gay dudes hooking up. It's about a guy, a father, who lost his son and misses his son. Misses his son. Listen to me. And he wants to connect with him somehow. And he knows he can't just go up to a random guy and say, "Hey, can I want to wiggle your toes, like, this little piggy went to market," things like that. Things you would do with a kid. He knows a regular, straight guy wouldn't let him do that. So his thinking is, let me go to a gay bathhouse and, and talk to somebody that looks like my son, and maybe I can pretend that I'm with him. And he talks about a flower that his son loved. At the end of the short, he gives a flower to the real gay guy. It turns out the new guy isn't gay. He has, obviously he's married. He just wanted to get away. He wanted to spend some time with his son. What a beautiful story! What a beautiful story! Especially set in something like a gay bathhouse. What a beautiful story! To tell the story of a grieving father who wants to connect with his dead son. And to set it in that environment, it is masterful. It is a masterpiece of cinema.
Get the fuck out of here! No, I cannot. It's serious.
Now, I'm a father, and I understand the power of a child and the power that a child has over you. I would be inconsolable if I lost my children. So I completely understand that new guy coming in. I completely understand his thinking. Would I do the same thing? No, probably not. I wouldn't do that. But as somebody who looks like he comes from a straight-laced background, very uptight, his decision to do that is very interesting on many levels. Maybe his son was gay. Maybe that is sort of the hinted at. Maybe that's the subtext. His son was gay and he wants to sort of connect with that by finding another gay man and spending some time with him, specifically on the anniversary of his death. The movie can be interpreted in many ways, but it's a beautiful, beautiful movie, in my opinion, about a father's loss and a stranger who helps him grieve. the ending of this movie packs a punch that I did not expect, and it almost brought me to tears. Almost brought me to tears. I honestly would have cried if it wasn't for the fact that the last minute of the movie involves a new guy leaving and another guy coming in and showing his dick.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
But my God, Vapors is a masterpiece. Vapors is one of the best short films I've ever seen, and it proves to me, Vapors and Nightbirds proves to me that Andy Milligan is a real motherfucking artist. He is not an exploitation bullshitter, despite what his oeuvre would show. He's an artist. He cares about what he writes. He cares about what he makes. And goddamn, it is a solid ass movie. It is a solid ass movie, and Vapors alone saved this disc from being a complete and utter dud, in my opinion. Vapors gets 5 fucking stars from your old pal Master Chaos. Woo! That'll do, bugaboo. That has been disc 7 of the Dungeon of Andy Milligan. We're almost done. We got 1 disc left. I'm not going to really review the CD, the music CD. I'm just going to focus on the movies, and also next episode I'll be talking about the book by Stephen Thrower. Wow. What a journey I've gone through with this box set. Everything from just complete utter disgust to shocking surprise and finding a truly sensitive artist. And I wonder if Vapors is something that actually happened to Andy. Maybe that's something that really, because it's such an interesting story, something really unique. I wonder if that's something that either happened to him or happened to a friend of his and he heard the story. And it also shows Andy's background as a playwright. It's very much a play, a 2-person, whatever, 1-act play. Fantastic stuff. Time to close the dungeon for now, but we'll be back with the final disc. I hope you'll join me for that review. My friend, I love you very much. Remember that. Your friendly neighborhood Master Chaos loves you just the way you are, in fact. And what about Hunchbacks? Before we close it out, what about Hunchbacks? You're wondering. You didn't mention Hunchbacks. MC, what's going on? There are no Hunchbacks. There are no Hunchbacks. 100% 0 Hunchbacks on this disc. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's up to you. Maybe the Hunchback thing was sort of an add-on down the road. No Mongoloids either. No Mongoloids. Okay. So there you go. That is disc 7 for the Dungeon of Andy Milligan. My friend, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. It has meant the world to me. I hope you'll come back. I'll be here waiting for you. I hope we get to hang out again. Until that time, I remain to be continued.